Investigation. Although all that is from Demiurge Sama, I am simply repeating what I have heard, Sous-Chef said. That's right, Albedo, can I ask you a question? As the Guardian Overseer, isn't it bad that you don't know about the newcomers? What if a spy came in with them? Before Albedo could answer, somebody else voiced an objection. Ahahaha, that's funny, Shaltir. It's true that the 6th floor is very large, so it's only natural that you might think that capturing and slaughtering intruders would be difficult. Certainly, it would be troublesome if they managed to escape from the Colosseum and ran around like little spiders. Her laughter was hollow, and her eyes were as cold as ice. But don't you think you're looking down on me? This place is my hunting ground. Even if they dispersed, I could swiftly hunt down and kill every last one of them. Honestly, even if those people somehow managed to escape the 6th floor and tried to harm Ainz Sama, they would have to pass through the blazing world of the 7th floor, and then there's the inviolable 8th floor to worry about. Even if they wanted to escape, they would have to pass through the frozen hell of the 5th floor, the dark waters of the 4th floor, and then your levels. Do you think that's possible? Shaltir shook her head. Not at all. And that's how it is. Therefore, there's no need to worry no matter how many newcomers there are on this floor. Aura took the words out of my mouth. In any case, there's a plan going on now to gather all kinds of creatures here. Huh? Isn't it just plant-type monsters? As she heard Aura's surprised question, Albedo smiled and answered. That was the plan in the beginning, but after some observation, we found that no problems came up thanks to Aura and Mare's hard work, so the plan was amended and expanded. That said, this is only at a draft stage, and there's no guarantee that it'll be put into practice. Therefore, even a floor guardian like yourself has not been informed yet. Albedo told them to keep it a secret, and then she described the plan. The name of the plan is Project Utopia. It is a large-scale project beginning with the secret base that Aura built, and its end stage is to gather monsters who can get along with humanity and have them live here. Why is getting along with humanity in particular a condition? Albedo smiled as though implying I knew you'd say. That smile looked terribly evil. That is the key to the entire plan, the focus of Project Utopia. Permit me to be blunt, but I find it hard to understand. This Nazarick is a haven for the supreme beings, and we labor for its sake. Why has it been named that way? This is in order to let the outside world believe that we can coexist with other races. I see, so that was the aim. No way, Shaltir actually understood it. Shaltir's face filled with an expression that could shatter a million-year-old love, and she glared angrily at Aura. Do you take me for a retard? Wait, hang on, Shaltir. Might I trouble you to reflect on what you usually say and do before asking me that? Please, just think about it for just a bit. And indeed, for just a moment, Shaltir thought back on everything she had said and done until now, and her pupils widened like that of a dead creature. After that, her eyes roved all over, like they were being tossed in stormy waves. After seeing her utterly pathetic state, Albedo graciously steered the conversation back on track. In any case, Ainz Sama came up with this plan. When we discussed the 6th floor, Ainz Sama once mentioned that he would like to collect various monsters. Surely someone with a limited understanding of the world would never have been able to come up with an idea like that. In the past, I discussed Ainz Sama's wisdom with Demiurge, and the conclusion we reached was that Ainz Sama is a true genius. Anyone would know that Ainz Sama is a genius, though I hear great men tend to speak little. Did Demiurge say that? Honestly, Ainz Sama never simply states his thoughts, and sometimes he does mysterious things. Still, as the saying goes, true courage seems cowardly, while great wisdom appears foolish. That's the sort of person Ainz Sama is. Albedo's eyes were moist, and she shook her head. I did not even expect Ainz Sama to create the persona of the adventurer Mammon. Truly, he is an awesome man. I did not expect everything that took place until now to be in the palm of Ainz Sama's hand. Mammon is Ainz Sama posing as an adventurer, right? What's it for? Soon you will understand, the Mammon persona will become the bedrock of Ainz Sama's rule. Ainz Sama is far too amazing. Perhaps it was his hidden hand at work behind Demiurge's suggestion. What are you mumbling about over there? It's kind of scary. Shaltyr's voice called Albedo back to her senses, and after coughing lightly, she regarded the faces of the other three. Where was I? Right. Everything Ainz Sama says and does contains great meaning. Therefore, even if you can't reach his level, you need to try your best to Ainz Sama's true intentions from his words. That'll be hard. Ainz Sama's just too smart. It's a spear needle. Two balls of white fluff, each over 2 meters tall, appeared from inside the village and slowly made their way to Aura's side. They were magical beasts who looked like Angora rabbits. They're cute. Shaltyr stroked one of the fur balls standing beside Aura. They're so soft, I want to raise one. They feel comfortable, don't they? However, when they encounter enemies, they become as sharp as needles, you know? Spear needles were level 67 monsters. Once they entered combat mode, they would become a ball of extremely dense spines. If the spear needles were killed in this state, their fur would not return to their original soft state. Therefore, when hunting them, one would have to take them unawares and instantly kill them. That was why the players who hunted them were often much higher level than they were. Really? That's scary. Shaltyr might have said that, but she was still caressing them non-stop. However, if I don't give the order, they won't go into a combat state. Now, if there were enemies nearby it would be a different matter, but no hostile invaders would be able to make it all the way in here. At the very least, the other floors would send a report. That's true. It's only to be expected. The top 3 floors are filled with vassals that have excellent detection abilities. It would be very difficult for someone to sneak in here without being noticed by them. Just then, Aura froze, and she turned to the Colosseum. What's wrong, Aura-san? The teleport gate to the 7th floor just activated. From below? Demiurge ought to be outside now, so could it be one of your subordinates? Is it all right to not take a look? Mare's around, so there's no need to worry. If anything happens, he'll contact me. Aura tapped the earring around her neck. Besides, it's hardly a rare thing. You need to take teleport gates at specific locations, and go up level by level, if you want to go from a lower floor to an upper floor. Oh yeah, didn't somebody use magic, because they didn't want to run ahem? Nazarick is an impregnable fortress. Indeed. Not even that super-tier spell, Sword of Damocles, or my world-class item could destroy an entire floor at once. That's why we must not let the ring which allows for at-will teleportation to be taken. All eyes went to the ring on Albedo's left ring finger. Mare apparently hands the ring to someone else for safekeeping when he heads out. From that, you can tell how important the rings are. Mare contacted me. Aura moved away from the others and grabbed at her earring, and then she began a conversation with the absent Mare. The 3 of them looked at Aura, whose face was slowly turning serious, and by the time they had finished talking, she looked very unhappy. I'm sorry. Mare apparently needs to head out for something, so just in case, I'll be going back. I see. Then, why don't we head back ourselves, Shaltyr? I don't mind. I'd like to do something in the fields first before I go. Also, I'd like to chat with the Dryads and the Treants. Then we'll each go our own ways. Thank you for coming, everyone. Thanks to you, I know how to spend my vacation time. If we're free some other day, yes, next time, we should all bathe together. Part 2928 Nazarick Time Mare looked up from the book he was reading, slowly shifting his eyes to peek at the teleport gate which led to the 7th floor. Sensing a faint wave of power, he put his bookmark between the open pages and quietly laid it on the chair beside him. He then picked up the staff beside him, the divine class item known as Shadow of Yggdrasil. Mare brought his empty hand to the magical item dangling before his chest, but then it stopped halfway. There was no need to contact his sister. He had not received any reports of an intrusion, so the person who came must have been a friend. He moved his legs and jogged over to the teleport gate directly below him. His big sister enjoyed jumping down directly from the spectator seats, but Mare did not like to do that. He felt that since there were stairs installed in the arena, he ought to take them on the way down. That was how one showed their faithfulness to the supreme beings. The stairs were meant to be used, after all. But I don't dare tell One-chan that, she'll look at me in a scary way. Mare decided that at the very least, he would not waste the supreme being's efforts, and so he ran down the steps, and then he ran past the resting area. It was then that he saw someone standing before a huge round mirror that flashed with all the colors of the rainbow. Forgive me for keeping you waiting. Oh. If it isn't the floor guardian, Mare-sama. Thank you for coming all the way here. I am utterly delighted. The clown before him was dressed in pure white, and wore a mask that resembled a crow's beak. He bowed, and Mare nodded in response. Hello, Pulcinella. What happened today? Oh yes, as you know, Mare-sama, I am currently working under Demiurge-sama, and today I have come as an envoy from Demiurge-sama. Please, take this. The clown swiftly handed over the folder he was carrying. If Demiurge-san wants me to have this, does this mean it's a circular? Precisely. Ah, I'm so glad it was you who came, Mare-sama. How fortunate. If Ora-sama had come, I would have to ask her to fetch you. Why? Is that so? The circular notice system had been invented by the ruler of the great underground tomb of Nazareth, Ainz. While it was little more than writing down non-urgent news and other miscellaneous matters on a piece of paper, and letting the various floor guardians circulate and read it among themselves, something like this had never been practically used before. Therefore, Mare stared in bafflement at the folder he had just received, muttering, so this is, to himself. Why can't you give it to One-chan? Ora and Mare were both floor guardians, so there was no reason not to give it to her. In addition, she was actually quite careful about these things, and she would not simply toss the circular away. I am unclear about that myself. All I know is that Demiurge-sama instructed me to hand it directly to you, Mare-sama, and not to Ora-sama. Is that so? Then, how about Demiurge-san? It was a somewhat vague question, but Pulcinella seemed to understand what he was asking. Well, I do not quite understand his intentions. But I feel the answer or reason may lie within that folder. I see. Then yes, that's right, Demiurge-san, what is he doing now? Conducting breeding experiments. Humanoids can breed among themselves, but demi-humans cannot breed with humanoids. What a tragic state of affairs. A loving couple is denied the chance to bear the fruition of their love just because of the differences in their race. Demiurge-sama is working hard in order to save these poor souls. He will create possibilities between humanoids and demi-humans. The clown practically sang his reply, spreading his arms and looking up to the sky. Pulcinella's sudden change in mood made Mare roll his eyes. Ah, how rude of me. I could not help but be excited by Demiurge-sama's kindness, as he works to make people smile. Please forgive me. Okay, I don't mind. Demiurge-sama has even said that he would allow himself, and the others, the demons, to be sacrifices so as not to make others hate themselves. What a noble spirit of self-sacrifice. Pulcinella, am moved to tears by it. Pulcinella rubbed at his eyes through its mask. Of course, he was not crying. Even his voice sounded the same as always. He did not sound sad at all. Why do people hate him? I do not understand either. Why would the kind Demiurge-sama incur the hatred of others? But Demiurge-sama said so himself. Yes, please listen to this, of how kind Demiurge-sama really is. Last time, Demiurge-sama said that it would be a shame to let the livestock starve, and so he roasted up the children of both sides whole, and served them up to each other. Surely a cruel and merciless person would not have swapped them first, but served them up directly, no? Really? But of course. And in order to allow the parents of both sides to bid their children farewell, Demiurge-sama even invited them to the dinner table. Demiurge-sama specially allowed them to say goodbye with a smile. I am sure that nobody other than the Supreme Beings could be as compassionate a person as he is. As he watched Pulcinella prattle on, Mare went in an uninterested tone. Those people were not entities of Nazarick, so it did not matter what happened to them. His feelings about Demiurge's livestock vanished from his heart after a couple of seconds. And when one is hungry, the gut may be unable to digest food even when the brain desires it. Demiurge Sama even considered that point as he warned them to eat well. His kindness is truly beyond compare. Mare felt that this was go on forever, and so he hurriedly cut in. Then, how about Guren-san? I thought he would be the one sending it, but what's he doing now? Is it him, or perhaps her? I believe Guren-sama has no gender, but when I saw him a couple of days ago, he was waiting in ambush near the 7th floor's teleport gate, while Demiurge Sama was gone. I see. Mare thought of Guren's appearance. Guren, an area guardian, who hid his massive body within flowing lava, and dragged careless foes into a battlefield where he had the advantage and fought them. Though he was only level 90, he was optimized for combat, and so by sheer fighting prowess alone, he was among the top few combatants of Nazarick, and could even hold his own against some of the floor guardians. Thus, there was no better guardian for the 7th floor in Demiurge's absence. I seem to have spoken too much. Now that I have delivered the circular to your hands, Mare Sama, I must now go spread more smiles to others. Thank you. Mare bowed, and Pulcinella gently replied, there is no need for thanks. I am satisfied by being able to see your smile, Mare Sama. The clown shrugged in a joking manner. Well then, till we meet again. He waved, and then vanished into the teleport gate which led to the 7th floor. After Mare watched him leave, he opened the circular. The fact that it was meant for his eyes, and not those of his sister, filled him with a mix of emotions, superiority, and guilt, and after he quickly scanned the contents, he blinked a few times. This isn't so much a circular as a message Ainz Sama wanted to send to the Guardians. It read, to all male guardians, and contained appreciation and praise for their daily work. In summary, this was an invitation to bathe together and relieve fatigue. There was a list of participants, reading Ainz, Demiurge, Mare and Cocytus from top to bottom, each with a going/not going option beside them. The top 2 entries already had going circled. Seba's name should have been in there too, but he was currently under orders to gather information with Solution in a human city. The date is. The circular stated that the date was not fixed, and that it would be held when it was most convenient for the participants, which was why he could circle going without any hesitation. While the circular stated that he could refuse, there was no way Mare could refuse the invitation of his generous and compassionate master. No, nobody in Nazarick would do so. He picked up the pencil in the folder and circled the going beside his name. He giggled as he looked at the circled going. However, before long, clouds shrouded his heart. But how am I going to get this to Cocytus? The circular repeatedly emphasized not to inform the female guardians about this, so it was clear that his master wanted to keep this a secret between men. In that case, the best way was to bring it over himself. It's not good to keep things from Wen-chan, right? Because while I'm receiving his should I call it affection, I'll need Wen-chan to guard the floor by herself. It was one thing to leave when under orders, but when they had to visit the other guardians for fun or do other things, Mare and Aura would always tell each other where they were headed. That was because Aura and Mare were assigned to guard this floor by order of the Supreme Beings, so doing that much was only to be expected. Mare grabbed the magic item hanging around his neck. Oh, Wenchin? Can you hear me? He received an immediate reply. I can hear you. What's up, Mare? That's great. It's like this. I need to visit Cocytus for a while. I'll be back soon. Visit Cocytus? I need to get there in a hurry. What happened? Mare's shoulders quivered in fright. He almost squeaked instead of speaking, and he barely managed to squeeze out a normal voice. And nothing? It's nothing, just, I feel I have to go there. Oh, Aura clearly sounded suspicious, and Mare's palms grew clammy with sweat as he heard it. But, it can't be helped. Ainz Sama ordered it. Other than the words of Aura and Mare's creator Bukabukagama, Ainz's words were the most highly placed of all the supreme beings. It was only natural to place what he said as his topmost priority. Well, I guess that's fine. Go, then. However, the 5th floor is very cold, so don't forget to protect yourself against the cold. Oh yeah, you should be fine there, Mare. I can handle it with magic. Don't worry. I'll go there and come right back. If he continued talking, he might end up saying something strange. Therefore, Mare hurriedly released the magic item. It would seem his sister wanted to say something else right at the end, but whether it was good or ill fortune, he did not hear it. All right. I need to move quickly. Mare activated the power of the ring which his master had given him. After teleporting, chunks of a white substance flew right at Mare, and stuck to his face. This was snow, carried by the wind. The cloud of white breath that Mare exhaled instantly flowed behind him. That was because of the supercooled wind shear. The snow driven by the blizzard went in all directions, obscuring all vision and covering up footprints. This was to waylay any intruders, but under normal circumstances the weather on the 5th floor was not so bad. The clouds which covered the sky would only dispense scattered snowflakes, and while the mood was gloomy, visibility was excellent. Mare looked around. Since he had teleported via the ring of Ainz Olgown, he must be close to his destination. Once he found the place where he had to go, Mare advanced with light steps. He left no footprints on the snow where he had trod. His feet did not sink into the snow, as though he were walking on solid ground. In this lonely world of white, the sound of falling snow seemed to carry directly into Mare's ears. Of course, Mare's always-on extrasensory perception spell let him know that this place was not truly deserted. The ambushers knew he was the 6th floor's guardian, and so they did not show themselves. Mare arrived at his destination in silence. Before him was a large white sphere, which looked like an inverted hornet's nest. 6 gigantic crystals surrounded the white sphere, their sharp tips pointing to the heavens. The crystals were transparent, and there were people visible inside. Mare took a step, and a distasteful sound which made him uneasy issued from beneath his feet. Looking down, he saw that the ground below was different from the snowdrift just now. It was a shiny layer of ice. It looked thick enough, but there was nothing but inky blackness beneath the ice layer. It was clearly a big hole. Mare stepped onto the ice. He walked without any hesitation, as though he was certain that the ice below him would not crack. He trod on the ice, which made a trembling, creaking noise, and arrived at the vicinity of the white sphere. Is Cocytus-san in? Mare was not addressing the huge white sphere, but the crystals around it. Monsters which resembled human females emerged from the crystals in response to his voice. There were as many monsters as there were crystals, and they were dressed all in white. Their skin was pale, and their long hair was black. They were Frost Virgins level 82 ice-type monsters, responsible for defending Snowball Earth, which was Cocytus' home. They were something like a bodyguard team. Welcome, Mare-sama. We are pleased that you came to visit in person. Where is Cocytus-san? Cocytus-sama is currently outside the great underground tomb of Nazarick. He is visiting the Lizardman village. Is that so? The Frost Virgin bowed her head as an affirmative. May I take a message for you? Mare hesitated. Since he had come all this way, he could probably leave the circular in Cocytus' room, and then let the Frost Virgins inform him. However, after thinking about the contents of the circular, handing it directly to him might be the best way to carry out his master's intentions. But how could he go outside to find Cocytus? There was no rule preventing them from leaving Nazarick. However, there was a requirement that had to be met in order to step outside. This was because their master had strictly forbidden anyone from moving around alone outside Nazarick. After analyzing the data they had collected so far, the level 100 Guardians of Nazarick were unimaginably powerful compared to the outside world, comparable to walking disasters. Thus, as one of those walking disasters, Mare would not be in danger when moving around alone outside. On the other hand, it was the world that ought to be afraid of him. However, anyone with such a reckless mindset must surely have forgotten something. That was the fact that Shaltir had been brainwashed by an enemy who in all likelihood possessed a world-class item. And there were also traces of players' existence throughout the world. They did not know how powerful and how broad in reach these people were, so they had to be extra careful. What should I do? Anyone going outside had to be escorted by 5 vassals of level 75 and above, as a bare minimum. Mare had 2 dragons who were directly assigned to him as vassals, but bringing them around with him would be too conspicuous. The fastest way would be to ask his sister, but when he thought about what had happened when he came here, he could not muster up the courage to do so. Just then, a revelation flashed across his mind. Their numbers and levels were just right. Could I ask you to come and look for him with me? I am very sorry. Cocytus Sama has ordered us to defend this place. Unless Ainz Sama himself orders it, we cannot disobey Cocytus Sama's orders, we beg your forgiveness. No, not at all. It's fine. That could not be helped, or rather, he would have realized it if he had thought of it. After that, he hit on a second good idea, which was to borrow the evil lords from the 7th floor. However, if he simply asked them normally, his request would probably be denied like this. Still, he could only count on Demiurge for aid. That was because he wanted to do his best to avoid asking guardians, whose names were not written on the circular, for help. In addition, most of the vassals who were above level 80 were the direct subordinates of a guardian, and very few were independent. Due to these 2 reasons, he would need to contact Demiurge in order to borrow his evil lords. But how will I contact him? In order to reach Demiurge, who was outside, he would need to dispatch a vassal or use magic. Then, there's mere thought of the book he had just read. He has subordinates of level 75 and above too, right? But he's not a guardian, well, he's male, so it should be alright. I'll just have to swear him to secrecy. Thank you all. I think I'll figure something out myself. Really? Understood. Mare activated the power of the ring. His destination was the massive library on the 10th floor of Nazarick Ashurbanipal. 9:54 Nazarick time. After teleporting, the scenery, before Mare's eyes, changed from a snowfield to an expansive room. The basic color of the room's furnishings was an ebony brown, and it appeared quite dignified as it was illuminated by warm lighting. The ceiling was a gentle dome, and there were a pair of double doors opposite him. These massive doors were big enough to rival the ones which opened to the throne room, and they were flanked by a pair of golems which were each almost 3 meters tall. Both golems resembled warriors and had been built from rare metals by a supreme being, so they were more powerful than regular golems. Please help me open the door. In response to Mare's words, the golem on each side placed their hands on the door and slowly pushed it open. There was a weighty sound as the doors opened to the point where several people could walk through them side by side, and Mare stepped through them. The scene which unfolded before him did not resemble a library so much as a view from a similar institute. Yes, it looked like an art gallery. The floor and bookshelves were elaborately decorated, and the neat rows of books on them looked like ornaments as well. The shining, spotless floor was an intricately patterned parquet mosaic. Above was a towering ceiling, and there was a mezzanine balcony on the 2nd floor. Beyond that was a room girdled by countless bookshelves. Every inch of the hemispherical ceiling was covered in magnificent frescoes. There were glass showcases scattered throughout the room, each displaying several books. While there were countless light sources, they did not produce strong illumination. A human being would surely frown in resentment at the dimness of the room. One could not take the entire room in with a single look. The bookshelves blocked one's view. The doors slowly closed behind Mare amidst this library-appropriate silence. Without the light from the outside, the room's interior seemed even darker. That, combined with the profound silence, filled the room with a creepy atmosphere. Of course, Mare could see in the dark like it was broad daylight, and so he did not feel creeped out at all. Mare walked inside, somewhat quickening his pace. He was currently in the Hall of Reason. This library was divided into the Hall of Knowledge, the Hall of Reason, the Hall of Magic, and various other smaller rooms with their own specific purposes, such as the individual rooms for each of the staff. With that in mind, his destination seemed quite a ways off. Countless books filled the neat rows of bookshelves which lined the passage on either side. There were roughly 5 kinds of books in Yggdrasil.